Welcome to Beerfield. I am your host, Beerfield Hop, Chris Hopper, the weatherman.
I was going to say, you can't not just introduce yourself without the weatherman now.
Yeah, well, you know. More on that in a minute. As always, Beerfield Theory joining me this morning. As always, Week 14, the cluster. If you've been through and set your fantasy lineups, you know this. We're here to help out with that, hopefully.
Hopefully.
A lot of injuries, a lot of sickness, a lot of game time things to get through. A lot of lineup things to get through is a lot of people are either playing for seeding, bye weeks, playoff spots.
Yep.
So
it's
a lot of
important week.
It is an important week. A lot of I need this, and this to happen. Cheers.
What up, big OTDs?
Love them big OTDs.
Welcome back.
I've got some grossness going on this week, Dan, as I go through my lineups and set them.
I think we all do. I mean, I saw a post. I think it was Kate from Ball Blast. Shout out to the Ball Blast girls. Shout out to Kate Michelle. I'm pretty sure it was her. If not, then it doesn't matter. She probably agrees with me anyways. Is that whoever has the healthiest lineup in week 17 is probably going to be your league champion. It's not about the best players at that point. It feels like, because you have spiking COVID cases right now going on in the NFL. Obviously, injuries are abound.
Yeah, everyone's banged up. Teams being more cautious with players this year, it feels like, for the stretch run.
As they should. I mean, this is what we've talked about, what a lot of us have talked about all year, was don't be surprised if you start to see teams be a little more cautious with their players with this extra game. And now, especially with the one seed only getting the bye week for the playoffs, for the actual playoffs, it's going to force out teams, set their active rosters every week.
Well, and this is why I preach having floor pieces around all the time too, is for moments like this, right? I mean, make a dart throw or two, but you want to make sure you have floor pieces in depth on your roster that you can plug in. And I think this year that's been a little bit more important than in years past. There's been some, with the prolonged buys and injuries and COVID still, there's been a lot more plug and play and mix and match up and down the roster. We just talked about it at length, all the running back injuries that have happened, what's gone on at the wide receiver position. Been a lot of rotating pieces in and out. The people that drafted for depth, the people that played the waiver wire well, people that are going to be in the playoffs.
And especially going to be not even just getting to the playoffs, but the people that were able to, to be active and to make those type of moves,
trades,
are probably going to be your league winners, right?
Yeah.
This is why it's important to be active in your leagues and why it's important to, to try to stay up on the information, especially now with how much there is out there.
So what's the grossest thing you have going on today?
Well, as I'm going through my lineups, I'm not going to talk about my dynasty league because obviously some dynasty leagues are going to be, pretty gross. But Scott Fishbowl, let's look at, because, spoiler alert, I think we talked about it on the show on Wednesday, but both of us made the playoffs.
Yeah.
You obviously had a better year this year than I did in terms of record and points. I think you got me by 100 points, but I somehow made third highest in points on my team. I only get one quarterback this week, and I can't play Tony Pollard, so I probably have to play Ty Johnson.
I only get one quarterback this week as well. I had picked up from maybe they'll make an efficient game plan, found out Glennon was starting, was able to pick up Glennon, but with the way SFP scoring works, I have no confidence in starting Mike Glennon, which plays into our first question. Kenny Golladay or Amon-Ra St. Brown in PPR, it's Amon-Ra for me. Lions are in a bit of a roster crunch. It's a tough matchup. He just had a breakout game, though. And I would rather chase that than Galladay, who's been disappointing with a quarterback that we know is disappointing. It's not an unknown commodity like Jake Fromm. We know Mike Glennon is terrible. Mike Glennon has been terrible. I don't know why he continues. He must be a hell of a bench coach or something, because I don't know why he continues to get jobs in this league. It's a modern.
When you're a journeyman for so long, you probably start to pick up, playbooks, and there's actually
what up, Skip?
But events. Skip.
So
Skip's back in the house. Yeah. I agree with you. Amon-Ra over Galladay. Galladay, it's been. I mean, I don't think anyone's shocked by the lack of fantasy production from this year, but
it may be ugly, but Amon-Ra's floor is higher, and that's not saying a lot.
Yeah, higher floor, probably similar ceiling. I don't like either matchup, but
yep.
Detroit doesn't have both. It doesn't look like they're going to have both of their running backs this game anyway. They don't. So now you have
without Swift. There you've got Jefferson
two rookies,
and Godwin. I can't say his last name. I apologize. So you got Jefferson and Godwin. And
Godwin.
Sorry, I haven't heard it pronounced. I don't want to butcher it.
No, I know.
Going for them, and yeah. I mean, for a while, we didn't even know that Detroit was going to have healthy receivers this week. So,
true. Looks like Derrick Henry will return if the Titans make the playoffs.
So, in the playoffs.
Yeah, it says Ian Rappaport reports. Gotta love. I miss saying that. Derrick Henry is expected to return for the playoffs if Tennessee makes the postseason.
Yeah,
it makes sense. There was never a reason to bring him back.
I was holding on to him for maybe week 17 if they're playing for something, maybe the championship. Also because it's a keeper league. But
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Which is a reminder, by the way, into the season, if you're holding on to somebody like, obviously Kenyon Drake's season's over, drop him. But Elijah Moore, who just went on IR, right? You've got
so much.
Yeah, I doubt they bring him back for week 17. It would be dumb to. They're not a playoff team. They're not going to be playing for the playoffs. So I doubt they bring him back for a Week 17 championship. But that's all you can hope for, is that he's going to miss 14, 15, 16. You might get him back for the championship. And who do the Jets play in Week 17? I got it right in front of me. Hold on. The Jets play the Bucs in Week 17. So, yeah. Somebody like that who's been good for you, you're in an area where you can drop them. I don't know the former kicker either.
Dono.
If you give me the phonetic pronunciation, I'll do it.
Inwinkboo? Inwinkbay? Inwinkbay?
Inwinkbay.
Inwinkbay. No.
Grossest thing I got going on is a little bit of overexposure to Ricky Seals-Jones.
I mean, we've been there before. So,
yeah.
I
actually picked up Jared Cook in one spot because I'm like, I've got like 5 other spots where RSJ is. And then he was on the waivers everywhere. And then the other grossness I have going on is Scott Fishbowl. I'm starting Josh Reynolds and Laquan Treadwell because I cannot. I was able to pick them both up for nothing.
That's good.
But I'm starting Reynolds and Treadwell because I don't have anything else I can do. My third tight end that I normally plug in is on bye. One of my running backs is on bye. I've got Nick Folk, who's very serviceable kicker in SFB scoring, on bye. Wentz on bye. Jones on bye.
Jesus. Everyone's on bye. I'm even playing a kicker this week.
I thought about McManus, but
I'm playing Robbie Gould.
I got better options with Reynolds and Treadwell, I think.
Well, I haven't even picked up a kicker until this week, but when your receivers are, withstanding Jamar Chase, Jarvis Landry, Emmanuel Sanders, and Sammy Watkins, and you're rolling out there Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Ty Johnson with only one quarterback, kind of got to go for something.
I'm really
kickers don't bring the upside in SFB, but you never know.
I'm really kind of hoping that my weekly average is going to carry me a little bit there.
That's the hope. For a week when we got to try to survive all the people who have JT that made the SFB playoffs that can't now.
Yeah, pretty much. Which that's the other reason I like doing it that way, though, right? Because big JT weeks help you that week. They might bump your average up a bit, but not a huge amount.
No.
All right, let's get into some news here. We run through some of these injuries because there's a bunch of them. Tony Pollard not expected to play. Zeke should get the bulk of the touches with that, but Corey Clement will be the backup there. So Zeke's still not 100%. So Corey Clement might get a little bit of run today. Don't go start him, but pay attention to that. I believe it was a torn plantar fascia for Tony Pollard, so not an easy injury to play through.
No, I think he's going to sit through the year. I don't think he'll play until if they make the postseason.
Yep. Let's see. Andy Dalton not playing. We knew that already. Nick Foles will be the backup to Justin Fields. Derrick Henry. Oh, you already said that. Expected to return. Sterling Shepard is going to play against the Chargers. It's another reason to not love Kenny Golladay this week.
We got a question. Big old TDs. Taysom Hill, Ryan Tannehill, or Jimmy G?
I love Jimmy G's matchup against the Bengals. You're down to Jeff Wilson.
And he gets Debo back, too.
Yeah, so. You get Debo back. You're down to Jeff Wilson, JaMychal Hasty at running back, which, they may still try to run 30 times with those guys, but that's not quite the same depth you get when you have Elijah Mitchell there. It's a very... Bengals are a team that can push the pace. It's a game that I'd expect to go higher scoring. Let's look at some of the others. Taysom Hill against the Jets. Maybe try to have a get-right game. You got the rushing floor with Taysom Hill, but I don't like the upside the same necessarily. And then
Tannehill versus the Jaguars. He gets Julio back off IR. But
same thing. I just don't trust them to push the pace in that game. And even with Julio back, I love D'Onta Foreman this week because game script, right? Jaguars can't score.
The answer is Jimmy G. I think
it's Jimmy G. If I'm ordering them, though, just in case you're against Jimmy G, it's Jimmy G, Taysom Hill, Ryan Tannehill. In that order for me.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I think you can kind of, flip-flop Hill and Tannehill. You can flip-flop the Hills. I don't care.
Higher rushing upside for Taysom than it is for
So
Tannehill this week, in my opinion.
They also get Kamara. I would assume the Saints use him more. I wouldn't be shocked if Hill outscores all three, but Taysom Hill outscores all three. But that's a risk you don't need to take.
Yeah,
you don't need the risk that when you have Jimmy G with Debo back and no real good healthy running backs.
Yeah, will not play. It's like this morning there were 2 Pollard reports. T. Higgins expected to play against the 49ers. Not too worried about him. He's been on an absolute tear. Joe Mixon is expected to play against the Niners, so they'll be full force on the Bengals offense. J.D. McKissick officially out against the Cowboys, so boost to Gibson there.
Yeah, should continue to be used like a workhorse down the stretch.
Yep, Debo's back after missing a week. They said the injury was 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks? Or he only missed a
one.
week?
He missed one.
And they said when it happened, the injury was minor. This just goes back to them being cautious. If it were the playoffs, I don't know that he would have missed any time, given how they termed it. So, Gerard Jefferson, we already talked about him. He'll likely draw the start. Him and Godwin I. And something called Craig Reynolds. What is
God, it better not be Craig Reynolds. That sounds like a late night host.
Well, and Tom Kennedy, I think, is active too. So you remember Special Agent Tom Kennedy.
Special Agent Tom Kennedy at your service.
And Late Night with Craig Reynolds. Let's see.
Oh, yikes.
Oof. 5'9", 212, 37th percentile spark.
Athlete.
4.71 40, 86.2 speed score. Not
Nice.
Vic Ballard, most comparable. Remember Vic Ballard?
Vic Ballard.
Former
That's a name.
Colts running back. It's a name. You're right about that.
I got to play Ronald Jones in a league.
College performance, he played for something called Kutztown. Kutztown with a Z.
Cutstown with a Z?
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a 13-year-old's Xbox handle.
It does, doesn't it? He actually did have a 1,000-yard season his sophomore year, breakout.
Cutstown.
And then didn't come close to it again. Kutztown. What the hell
Cutstown.
Kutztown.
Jesus.
Kutztown University.
Cutstown, USA.
In Pennsylvania.
Huh. That sounds like a
population of 5,000. Huh. Like D3.
Welcome to Beerfield, where you get Cutstown.
You learned something today. You learned Kutztown exists because I didn't know.
Yeah.
Dante Johnson, not to be confused with Deontay Johnson. Dante Johnson not going to play against the Bengals. Don't know that matters. Just was the next thing for me to read.
I don't think it does, but we gotta make sure people know.
Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back for the Saints. So yeah. Speaking of which, we mentioned Elijah Moore going to IR. So Keelan Cole, Corey Davis is on IR as well.
I mean,
so
Jamison Crowder will probably get. I mean, he'll be. I mean, maybe Braxton Berrios. Whoever wants to fill that kind of.
The problem with Crowder and Berrios is that they both only play inside.
Moore did. I mean, Moore would do both. So
right,
you're probably not making up production with one player, but
multiple.
Yeah,
I think didn't we see Keelan Cole get a little run earlier in the year? I thought. I'm gonna go look at that.
We got some. Mr. Pie wants to know Melvin Gordon or Clyde. Well, I don't think Melvin Gordon's playing.
Melvin Gordon's expected to play this week.
I still would not play him over Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I would not play him over Edwards-Helaire either. I like the matchup. What I don't know, and this is why I'm avoiding him where I can. I do have a league where I'm starting him because I like him better than some of my options there. But
yeah,
even though Gordon is playing and it is a plus matchup, what it boils down to is how does the snap share look after Javonte Williams' performance last week? Is it still going to be 50-50? We both personally think you're going to see it start to trend a little bit more towards 60-40. Already kind of felt like it was as far as productivity goes, even though paper wasn't supporting that. Yeah. So I'm going to lean Clyde on that one with you. Gordon just scares me a little bit to see, after the Williams performance as to how much that usage load might shift off of him.
I think it all falls down on just how healthy he is. They get the Lions at home this week.
Yeah.
You're in a matchup with their double-digit point favorites. They should lean towards not needing to play your starters late or not having to rely on them. So you may see a little more Javonte, and you may see a little bit of less, Melvin, especially if they get up by a couple scores. It may not. You may not. I think it leans more to Melvin getting less work because of matchup and just coming off of his injury, more so than even just Javonte having a nice cleanup game against the Chiefs. So
yep. Yeah, the other argument there too is that you've also got Clyde, who was 50-50 snap share with Darrell Williams, but I just trust Clyde to produce a little bit more, a little less risky,
and and a bit healthier.
So good question, though. I think those two are relatively close if you look at them in a vacuum right now.
Yeah.
Bryce Callahan back for the Broncos. It's a little bit of a boost to the secondary.
That is.
Let's see. Let me go back to the top of this because we should start to have actual inactives coming in and out.
Yeah, I'm seeing them. Tevin Coleman inactive, Michael Carter. So, again, Ty Johnson
again, which we knew that. Saints, no little Jordan Humphrey. That's about the only one that's been playing that's out there.
Yeah.
Ryan
No Des
Ramczyk's
Fitzpatrick
out.
for the Titans, so the number 2 spot should still be Westbrook and
Browns will be missing Greg Newsome and Ronnie Harrison out of the secondary.
And Baltimore still can't throw a football because they can't protect Lamar Jackson against that ferocious pass rush, and
it's still going to be a bit of a
it
bump
should be
up
you
Marquise
might see
specifically.
yeah.
Terrace Marshall is active against the Falcons after being healthy scratched. Darren Waller not going to play. Foster Moreau did not produce the way a lot of people thought he was going to. I think Foster Moreau is very touchdown dependent. He's not a Waller replacement. They're two very different tight ends.
I mean, you could see. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's still, he's fairly athletic. They only use him in the goal line. I'm wondering if maybe he just, his route tree isn't as expansive, so they didn't want to just run the same routes Waller does or try to use him in that vein. And plus, again, it's, Hunter Renfrow gets open at will. So, and Derek Carr isn't I'm throwing you open. You have to be open for him to throw you the football. So we'll see if maybe Monroe gets a little more work this week, rolling with the starters again. But I agree. You can't trust him.
I think he's very touchdown dependent.
Yeah. Like both tight ends. Just I'm looking to see how Kansas City stacks up against.
More so than most tight ends. I think he's touchdown dependent.
He's like most French tight ends.
He's basically Pat Freiermuth. You already mentioned no Tevin Coleman, no Des Fitzpatrick. Don't expect the Titans to have to throw a ton anyway.
No, I don't either.
Not that Des Fitzpatrick had done a lot there. Excuse me. No Pat Ricard for the Ravens.
Yeah, just another line of injuries that that they're dealing with. They have no secondary, obviously no backfield, and now you miss your best fullback and your backup tight end, your blocking tight end is also out. So look, what Baltimore has been able to achieve is, given the pieces they've lost is huge, but the Browns and the Ravens have a hard time scoring points right now, as both teams are dealing with significant losses to key positions. So don't expect much. This is not a game to target if you're looking for, for flex points.
Yeah. David Johnson to reserve COVID-19 list.
Huh.
No, yeah. And nobody was impacted by that. Not a one.
I'm playing him anywhere. Maybe. I don't know. I have a lot of leagues.
You do have a lot of leagues. I have a lot of leagues. No weather to be super concerned about this week either, so you're not going to get a Buffalo-New England fiasco. Worst weather game is the Sunday night game, Bears-Packers, 32 degrees, 12-mile-an-hour winds. So, just cold, basically.
Just cold.
NFC North game.
Gotta love them.
Mm-hmm.
It's Hawkinson's not playing. Hawks not playing
Hawks
this
out,
week,
yeah.
is he?
Hawks out.
God. Jesus.
Well,
criminy.
doubtful. Not officially out, yeah.
That's fair.
I'm really actually waiting to see Detroit's list of inactives.
I need to know if Chase Edmonds is going to play.
He's activated.
I know.
You're not going to know until it's Monday.
Yeah, which I was hoping for a little
tip-off. And actually, we're not going to know about the Lions until 3 o'clock, but I think most of them are... I'm going to go look at that, because they are dealing with a hell of an outbreak.
It's just how it goes right now.
The Lions were
looking through this.
Not just with COVID, but the flu, too.
Nobody's safe around there. Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to not play him.
Let's see. Yeah, DeAndre Swift ruled out. Hawkinson doubtful with a hand injury.
got some plain Rex Burkhead instead. Yay! I don't think anyone should ever be happy
to play Burkhead. Floor play. Yeah,
and there's definitely worse options out there. We'll just say that. Yep. Oh, we're good. They're good there. Sleeper's done. Great convo for the Anya.
What, sleeper?
No, just
you said
dead air.
lineups.
I said great combo for on air.
Oh, well, I'm tired.
We're all tired. I got into wine. We're on a wine kick, so I got into some more mailbox last night. So
I love mailbacks. I was we had Kai's birthday party yesterday, so I was buzzed by the end of it.
I'm sure.
And yeah, then I took a nap and woke up. I started drinking rum and Coke actually, which is also weird for me.
Sometimes you got to drink rum and Coke.
Watching Blown Away on Netflix.
Yeah, we started watching through Hacks.
Did you?
Pretty funny.
YouTube is throwing me an error, and I don't believe it. Don't believe it at all.
No.
Noon games kind of
playing Jamison Crowder this week.
Yeah, the new games kind of suck, but I'm kind of intrigued from a dumpster fire perspective. I still might go through it, though. Yeah, I got nothing. Yeah. I'm good. You good?
I'm good.
10:50. I've still got to do my team unders, but I'd rather not broadcast that. I'll just talk to you about that off air. So
yeah, I'll do mine when we're done.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck to everybody that needs luck this week. Well, not that needs Andrew luck. Everybody that needs help getting in this week. I'm sure that trusting Julio in the slot. My next best option would be Komet.
I would totally play Julio.
I'd play Julio over Komet.
He's the number one, even in what might not be a great game script. He's got so much upside.
Yeah,
like they have to get to a blowout spot for that to turn. So,
right,
I think Tannehill is going to be throwing a little bit more to start the game.
Yeah, and Cole Kmet and Justin Fields did show a little rapport, but I mean, Fields has really struggled. We talked about this on Wednesday. Fields has struggled quite a bit under pressure.
Yeah.
And Packers pass rush has been better. And I don't like Komet's floor nearly as much as I like Julio's.
Schultz
okay, now we're
Ertz
picking
this
up
week.
Schultz or Ertz. That's a good question.
That's tough.
I might lean Ertz a little bit.
Cardinals versus the Rams Monday night. Dallas gets the football team on the road.
And they got a full complement of... So, I mean, we still really haven't seen Dalton Schultz necessarily be productive with everyone.
I know, we also get
there.
another healthy week of Hopkins, which I expect to be used more. That's tough.
I'm leaning Ertz.
See, I would lean Schultz because he's been productive when they've had their full complement.
When's the last time they had their full complement, though? I mean, Amari Cooper was
beginning of the year,
very limited,
and he was still. I mean, I think he had. I think his first 2 weeks. I mean, this is before Gallup got hurt too.
Get hurt like week 2,
2 or 3. Yeah,
I'm gonna go look at that real quick. Hold on, because I don't think. So Michael Gallup went down with the calf injury.
Let's see here. I'm also going to pull up.
I love you, player profiler. He went down with the calf strain in week 1. Dalton Schultz was relatively productive in week 1, but again, Gallup left that game, basically. He missed 5 games with that, where we saw a lot of productivity. And then Cooper was was missing time after.
Matchups are a wash too. Both teams are.
Yeah, so week
are pretty good
10,
against
Gallup
tight
came
ends.
back. Schultz saw just 2 targets. Then Cooper goes down, and you're back up in the 7-8 target range, 5 target range with Cooper on a limited basis last week. It scares me because you haven't.
Well, both these tight ends scare you. It's not like you're like if one of these tight ends didn't scare us, this would be an easy question.
But
I get nervous in both cases, but to argue against Ertz, Hopkins is back healthy.
But
they have their full complement.
Max Williams here's the other argument against that, though, right? We've seen what the Cardinals do with the tight end with their full complement of playmakers, and Max Williams was fucking relevant there.
I mean, Schultz was. I mean, again,
you don't have it. You don't have.
I mean, both are going to be small. Both are going to be small enough sample size where you're not going to know how either way how they're false. Both are touchdown dependent. Both are probably going to see at most 5 targets. Pick the player that will be part of a higher scoring game, and hopefully it hits.
And that's Ertz.
If you want to, that or just flip the coin. I mean, honestly, that's between these two. Probably right now, that's probably where we're at.
Ertz is in the higher scoring matchup too. So
yeah. So if you want to play Ertz, because I think both of them they're both very touchdown dependent on offenses that they're not a top 3 option on, and they're not going to probably get more than 5 or 6 targets. I think 6 targets.
Hold on. Not a top 3 option. You mean not a top 3 receiving option, or not a top 3 option?
I'm sorry, not a top 3 receiving option on their team.
Okay, so who is ahead of
Ertz? Hopkins, Green, Kurt, Moore.
Is Green ahead of Ertz right now?
I would assume so. Outside options, Hurts is also going to get, but you're not Ramsey. Wow, I'm thinking Ramsey back to safety days. No, I don't think Ertz is a top 3 option on that team. And if Ertz is your top 3 option on that team, there's a problem.
1-7-5-4-8.
Even with a banged up AJ Green.
I mean, yeah, Green's been playing ahead of him, but more so with Hopkins out though. And
again,
not by
it's
much.
hard to argue. There's again. I like even Targus was standing. I still don't think Ertz is a top 3 option.
Just saying, not by much target wise between Green and Ertz.
I mean, what's
and that's without
Schultz
Hopkins
compared to the other ones, though, too, especially with Pollard now.
Well, it's again, you don't know because you've only had one half of a game where all of the Cowboys were healthy with Dalton Schultz, and it was week 1.
Was Ertz besides last week? Have you had Hurts with Hopkins and all these guys?
But you've had other tight ends there with all of those guys in the same boats. Dallas has not had their full complement of weapons, period. So looking at the position, not the player, right? Dallas has not had their full complement of weapons, period, since, again, half a game in week 1. You were missing Gallup, and about the time Gallup got back, CeeDee Lamb got blasted, and then when Lamb gets back the week after, you lose Amari Cooper for a couple weeks. Whereas, you had Hopkins and Kirk running at the beginning of the season, and you just had injuries that bit the Cardinals' tight end position, but tight ends have been plug and play. We've seen it with Washington too, where they're plug and play. I'm more concerned about who the receivers are around that tight end and how the team uses the tight end when they're full complement of receivers is healthy, if that makes sense. Because, again, Washington's a good example of this. Arizona's been a good example of this by trading for Ertz when Max Williams goes down. They use the tight end. There was somebody there ahead of Williams, too, I'm pretty sure, that also got hurt. So
Max was a benefactor when Dan Arnold left.
That was it. That's what it was.
For Carolina.
And Dan Arnold was useful at the end of last year. And that's kind of where I go with it is Arizona will use
Schultz is still useful too. Again, we don't know what it looks like. So I get your argument about going against it. Neither of these guys are your great top 3 options for tight ends.
Yeah.
But it's a guessing game at this point between them. So I'm not going to say no, but
I like Dalton Schultz. I trust what I'm going to get out of Zach Ertz a little bit more right now than I trust what I'm going to get out of Dalton Schultz, and it's a better matchup. Not a better matchup necessarily.
I don't know if I trust
more game points.
I I would probably still lean Dalton Schultz. Runs more routes. It's on the field more. I mean, I get it, but I think both of them are going to be in the same boat of both teams have their full complement of receivers. And the matchup wise against tight ends is a wash. If you want to lean maybe high scoring game.
Sounds like whoever loses this one is drinking Busch Light on Wednesday. That's what I'm hearing.
No, what's going to happen is that both players are either going to go off and it won't matter, or both players are going to suck and it won't matter.
Or Dalton Schultz is going to see 3 targets because it's a low scoring
affair.
Zach
Ertz saw 2 targets. Yeah, I mean, it could go in either way. Schultz got 2 targets last week. Ertz got 5. So it's, and both of them generally are in that 6 to 7 range.
I think you were backwards at that. Schultz had 5 last week. I think 2 the week before.
Ertz
had 2 last week. 8 the
I'm
week
looking
before.
at them both. Yeah. It's again.
If you consider them the same, though, game script is better for Ertz as well.
The answer, both teams divisional matchups. Washington's on a roll.
Rams Cardinals has a lot but different feel to it than Cowboys.
And Rams have also battled being a big disappointment in terms of the scoring department outside of last week. So we'll see. I feel like this is a shot bet, and this could be or not a shot bet. Whoever loses this week has to slam a Busch Light on Wednesday. How about that? We'll just do that.
That's what we're going with. Busch Light chugs.
We're gonna go with that. Yeah, Busch Light shotgun. Well, not shotgun because that's gonna get messy around the computers, but Busch Light slam on air. Because that's what the people want.
Yeah.
Dirty, I hope that in a slew of conversation you can make a decision.
That's actually the best analysis we've given the entire show. So
in about 2 months.
Yeah. It's just that
when we try, we really get there.
Well, that's kind of how it works. When we find something we actually disagree on, it works out better. Or not even that we actually disagree on, just that, I may feel I don't think you disagree on Ertz being the play there. I think the disagreement is how cut and dry it is.
It's so close.
Because to me, it's an easy
They would
answer.
probably be extremely close in projections, for people that do projections.
For me, it's a relatively easy answer from a standpoint of how I play. So,
well, again, they have the same floor and the same ceiling. That's why it's like
different situations.
Flip a coin. Well, I don't think it's that different.
I do.
It's like the Rams are lighting up the scoreboard lately, either outside of one game. We'll see though. We'll know Monday. We're sitting there waiting with Dalton Schultz's 8 points. See if he outscores Ertz.
Dalton Schultz has a bad game, and we're sitting there Monday while I'm waiting for Ertz to make one reception to win.
Ertz watch them both put up a donut. Just if they both don't score more than 8 points, we both got to fucking drink a Busch Light on there for this conversation.
Is 8 points the threshold for us to both have
We'll
to
make
do
8
that?
points the threshold, but that's pretty good.
4
catches and 40
somebody
yards.
catches a touchdown, which is probably the difference there. We're gonna be
exactly. And if they both go off, then we'll find something else to do.
Yeah. Brandon Cooks is playing if you care.
I mean, I do. I had a lot of Brandon Cooks. He was always a value. He's a huge discount. It was just, Tyrod getting hurt and being bad when he came back. It's kind of
it's the team around him. Brandon Cooks
that
is
too.
A good receiver on a bad team. I mean, look, if your team is bad enough, as much as Brandon Cooks has moved around, let me vet that this is going to be the case real quick. It should be, though. Hold on. Brandon Cooks.
See that he gets moved around.
Oh no.
Slot usage.
You know what? There are 3 games left in the season. He's still going to be a 1,000-yard receiver.
I don't know how excited I should be about
Absent
1,000
injury,
yards with
4
an extra
games.
game this
well,
year.
No, I mean just not counting week 18.
I know.
4 games. He's still going to be over 17 games, a 1,000-yard receiver.
I think it's
likely.
still impressive that
Maybe.
I've seen people come out, well, Brandon Cooks isn't QB dependent. I'm like, if anybody could survive this situation, the way that Cooks has, and Cooks has still been productive. It's just
not.
it's not been
The touchdowns
been
aren't
always
there,
like
and
it.
that's why you don't like it. But I mean, I guess it's not a guarantee in a 17 game season. He's at 742 right now with 4 games left to be on the same playing field as years before. So we'd have to average
I'm like, look
about
at
60, 75 yards a game.
look at some of these counting stats for it too. He's 9th in snap share, he's 6th in target share, he's 7th in route participation, he's 3rd in air yard share. He gets all the deep shots. He runs majority of the routes, some of the most in the league. He's 10th in completed air yards, and he's 7th in true catch rate. Look, like you said,
he's not the
it's
problem.
the offense, and everybody knew Houston's offense wasn't going to produce touchdowns
or just produce,
which is what it is.
Yeah, or just produce. Period.
Yeah, it's. I mean, he was still a discount where he was going, and I think he's been better than even expected. So
I agree.
He's been good. He's been as what he's been what you want. I think people just are now trying to like, whoa, wait a minute. Well, what do you mean Houston can't score touchdowns now? I mean, come on, Davis Mills, bro.
Houston's a cluster.
Yeah, it's rough.
All right, let's try this again because we just got an extra 25 minutes out of a Brandon Cooks discussion and an argument over Dalton Schultz and Zach Ertz. That's going to lead to somebody drinking Busch Light.
Or both of us.
Yeah.
If not one of us. If they both go off, maybe we'll find a different thing.
If they both go off, we'll find. Yeah, if they both go off, we'll find something nice.
We'll have to pound a.
So what's the threshold for both of them to go off? It's 8 point. It's under 8 points for it to be both bad. Would you
I think
say
over 12. I think over 12.
That's not
I think that's
a
a touchdown and
range.
60 yards right there.
Okay, that's fair. Well, PPR. So
both of them. I mean, again.
I would say
if they had a little higher target. If I trusted the target volume, one of them. Sure,
well, let's do this. Where's the calculator? So let's do 6 point receiving touchdowns.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this.
If go off threshold, we can go with like 15 or 16.
15 points would be 4 receptions for 50 yards and a touchdown.
Okay. That's fair. And that's going off for a tight end these days. So
yep. That's a tight end one day. So
I mean, without the touchdown, that might be low tight end one. Especially with losing Goddard and losing he might consecutive bye weeks. And Jack Doyle, who's been oddly productive recently to also the bye weeks.
So both over 15 will do something nice. Both under 8 will both drink Busch Light. If it and then the bet comes in that middle range if one hits it and one doesn't.
I really hope both of them go off. I hope for the sake of Dirty, if he's still listening, that both go off and it doesn't matter.
Well, only one of them.
I'm
assuming he's not playing both. So
no, I know. But
I hope
whichever one he picks is right.
I hope whoever Dirty started goes off.
I hope he plays the highest scoring of the two and he gets all the benefits.
By the way, real quick, thoughts on something I did this morning. I just need to know if it's ethical or not from your perspective.
Okay.
Did you see my tweet about what I'm doing in the listener league?
I quote tweeted it.
Okay.
I said I loved it.
Okay,
I think
cool.
if you're not in content, like look,
the only thing that's going to jumble up is the middle of the draft in a 16-team league, and I'm not winning that game anyway. So, like,
I don't think anyone's really going to care.
Yeah, I'm not winning that. I'm not winning that matchup anyway against Johnny. Yeah. There's no depth in this league for anybody. I'm a fringe playoff team, but with the bye weeks and the injuries and stuff this week, there is a 0% chance that if I were to plug in somebody even, which would either be a fourth tight end or a no-name receiver. Yeah. Here we go. Javi. Good name. We got Godwin I, Deonta Foreman, or trust Aaron Jones. I'm going Foreman.
So Packers get Bears.
Packers get
Titans
the Bears.
Obviously get
Aaron Jones has been kind of phased out.
I think the answer is Foreman, but let me. It's tough
Titans got the
because
Jaguars. Foreman went over 100 yards last time out for them. 120 actually on 19 carries. No receiving work. You do have McNichols back, who will get the receiving work. Game script leans Foreman. Productivity leans Foreman.
it's just Jones has just been.
Jones has just been bad.
It's rough. I mean, it's been a rough. He had 86 total yards against the Seahawks, but he hasn't played over 50% in 2 weeks snap share. I mean, it's tough, right?
A guy who's made his fantasy productivity on touchdowns hasn't had a touchdown since week 8.
Total yards has been, I mean, it's been helpful. Let me pull up. I think it's probably not as far off.
Are we going to do this again? Are we about to do this again?
I can't believe we got to do it between Deontay Foreman and Aaron Jones. That's the sad reality of what's happened to Jones. I mean, I don't disagree, but we got to look at it, right? You can't. It's not just a blind. Well, yeah, it's got to be Foreman. I mean, trust Aaron Jones. He had 80. I mean, total yards wise, they're about the same. Foreman hasn't scored a touchdown this year.
He had 80 total yards, 4 receptions, so
12 points.
Foreman's ran
PPR.
no more than 7 routes.
Oh,
I like his next question.
the next question's even closer.
We're gonna answer this one because I think I still think we're gonna be on the same page
for Foreman.
Yeah, no. For the next question, I think we'll be on the same page for the Foreman Aaron Jones. I think I'm still playing Aaron Jones. I like his upside more. I do. I get it, but both of them are similar total yards. I trust Green Bay's offense more.
All right.
I do.
In cold interdivisional game, maybe try to run the football a little bit more. But
and Jones at least is more of the pass catcher. He runs more routes, right? Just that's kind of it. It's touchdown, similar touchdown upside, if not a little higher than Aaron Jones.
Which, if it's full PPR, that helps. We've kind of gotten out of the habit of asking because most things default to full PPR these days. But if it's full PPR, that helps Aaron Jones. I'm still going Foreman. I like the game script more. I like the productivity more. I like his utilization more in that offense. I don't have to ask, should I trust this or not? Basically,
I mean, they're both relatively the same in terms of snap share. It's the same. Foreman hasn't been above 50% since taking over that backfield. Jones is in a similar boat. He runs more routes. They get similar total yards. Like they're similarly used. Game script's the same because you think the Bears are going to push the pace with the Packers. Both are divisional matchups. Both are going to be cold. I'll take Aaron Jones. We don't have to do another shot, another Busch Light.
I'll take
Deontay
Foreman. It's going to be a fun show on Wednesday, taking victory laps here. But you heard both. You heard both arguments. Honestly, if I were a debate moderator, I would say that I got the tight end argument, and you probably got this argument. But
that's fair.
If I were an external person moderating this debate, but
it sounds like Javi was already leaning towards Aaron Jones.
Okay, so
I get it's a good question to bring up because you got to, Foreman at least they're both good plays. They're both fine plays. Yeah, and they both it's very similar game script to match up to.
So
now
we'll see.
Debo or McLaurin.
Debo or McLaurin is going to be a lot closer for me.
To me, it's not close. To me, it's Debo. It's got to be.
My question is, who else are you starting that makes this a? This is fair in this situation, right? Who else are you starting that makes this a question that we're answering?
Or flex option.
Yeah.
Can you not play? Because I would play both Debo and McLaurin
over a lot of people.
Over all three of the running backs he posted. So can you not?
Yeah. So, what else do you got going on here? Because I like both this week. Washington is a game script that figures to play from behind. We do know the Cowboys can push the pace and push the scoring a bit. We do know that McLaurin's likely to draw Diggs, but we also know that Diggs gives up yardage. He's just a ball hawk and an opportunist. On the flip side of that, you got Debo back. He is coming off the groin injury. He hasn't gotten a lot of run in the receiving game, even though he's been used as a runner. They're down their top 2 running backs. Debo's a very interesting play this week. Does he have clearly more upside than McLaurin? That I don't know. I trust Debo's floor more, so I'm also probably going to lean Debo on that one. But I like both players a boatload this week.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very fair way to to look at this, and I think more so is if Javi's still here and listening to us, because I get it if you want to leave it for rambling.
Yeah.
But I want to know why you can't play both Debo and McLaurin when you ask a running back. I mean, unless there's no flex options or
different
you have
teams. The running
set.
back was for RB2, maybe, because that's the situation I'm in a lot this week,
fair.
where wide
That's
receiver
true.
depth is so deep that I'm actually putting a wide receiver in my flex spot and trying to decide who that third wide receiver is. So
that's a good way to look at it. It's
I've got a Kirk versus Gallup situation like that.
All right, we got another question while we wait for Javi to maybe answer. Beasley versus Tampa Bay or Jalen Guyton versus the Giants? PPR.
Ooh.
I'm assuming full. Guyton without Keenan Allen.
Yeah,
Mike Williams is going to play.
Mm-hmm.
I think Guyton was more of the Mike Williams type of role where he's more of a deep threat. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll get to see if Mike Williams gets to play a little more of that true alpha where he runs more of the intermediate routes, and they'll still work him deep. I wonder if we get to see a brief glimpse into alpha Mike Williams here.
You might.
Maybe what he was early on in the season.
So if you don't, Palmer's the one that would more, I think, fill
The Keenan Allen role.
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people are looking at Jared Cook to get a lot of that intermediate work now.
I kind of like Beasley still. I like the game script matchup. Brady versus
Beasley's
Josh Allen
been
again.
really-
Both offenses can easily. Brady throws the ball a metric shit ton too, and I think you're going to see Buffalo kind of bring their A game.
Beasley's
They
been
have to
really
after that.
rough since
After-
week 8, though.
What's that?
So Beasley's been real rough since week 8, though.
Yeah, it's been. You're kind of, but with the full point PPR,
I'm going to look at what
I can
Tampa
see
Bay.
Allen trying to be a little more, throw the underneath a bit more too.
I'm going to look to see what Tampa Bay has given up to Beasley type of players. Route runners, if there's a good measure. Michael Pittman's a pretty good measure, 4 for 10, 53, so just an okay day.
Beasley doesn't play outside.
No,
Pittman does.
He doesn't, but I'm talking intermediate route runners more so than anything else. I'm not going to find an exact Cole Beasley comparison.
Well, no, but you can go back and maybe see what slot receivers have done. I know
what
Beasley does.
That's what I'm doing, but I'm just saying that.
Okay.
You look at the teams that they've played, right? Dallas. So who's playing out of your slot primarily there? Lamb or Gallup?
Lamb.
Gallup.
Plays
so this is
outside.
week 1 where Dallas absolutely went off. 7 for 15, 104. Ridley 7 for 10 for 63.
He moved to outside. He was probably he's been outside most of the
Cup
year, too.
9 for 12 for 96 and 2.
Beasley isn't Cup, doesn't get the downfield work.
Yep, exactly. Let's see. Jacoby Myers 8 for 70. That might be the closest you're going to get to Beasley.
Yeah.
Is Jacoby Myers back in week 4?
I like the game. I trust the neutral game script between Buffalo and Tampa Bay than I do more so the Chargers, because you probably need more so a big play.
Yeah, there's
But I get the allure because he's going to still be work deep. Like even if Mike Williams kind of fills more of the intermediate work and Jalen gets more deep work.
I'm on Beasley with you on this one, by the way.
Okay.
I don't know that I ever made that clear after looking at the
No.
I said I wanted to go look at the numbers real quick just to see kind of what similar players had done against Tampa, because Buffalo is difficult. And the reason Buffalo is difficult is because you've seen Gabe Davis, Manny Sanders, and Cole Beasley all have big weeks. You don't have a clear cut who's the guy behind Diggs. You've got a bunch of role players and who lines up better, and the guys play their roles very, very well, but it makes it hard to predict who that next guy in the Buffalo offense is going to be when they do get a positive game script, because we've seen it be all three.
Well, that and you really can't trust Buffalo's offense has been wildly
up and
inconsistent
down
this year.
Yeah,
like Josh Allen had, he has come back down to earth, and his counting stats are still fine. still a very good quarterback. It's him and the offense have been. I think
they
defenses have figured out how to play against his deep ball effectively.
Well, and how to stop him from running, knowing that Buffalo doesn't have a running game they can lean on. They're very one-dimensional.
That's
and how they have
really
to do
what
this.
it is.
That's really been.
They're too one-dimensional with no trusted back.
Yeah, that's really been the big problem for them this year. But as I go back and look at what some of these comparable players that play out of the slot have done against, or at least slot guys in general, solid route runners have been able to do against Tampa Bay. I look at Jacoby Myers as the closest comparison to Cole Beasley, and while he was the one option on that New England team, I still see very, very good floor there. DeAndre Carter for Washington, very, very good floor there. Pittman, who's a solid route runner, doesn't necessarily play out of the slot because T.Y. was there, but a solid route runner. T.Y. is more of a deep slot threat. Very solid floor there. I like Cole Beasley. I think less of a chance at dudding you. Now, the flip side of this, it is playing week. Know what you need. If you need a win, I'll put it this way.
Who do you think has higher? Who do you think has higher ceiling between Beasley and
Guyton? I think Guyton has a higher ceiling, but if you need a win, I trust Beasley more. If you need points, I trust Guyton more.
I think people are also overlooking. I think Beasley has higher floor and ceiling. I think people are overlooking Josh Palmer and what his role could be.
I think so too, and
with Guyton just kind of getting
and that they could lean on Jared Cook.
Yeah, and they could lean on Cook. They could lean more on Mike Williams. And let's also not forget they're playing the fucking Giants. This could be out of.
It could just
get up.
All be Austin Eckler, Justin Jackson, Josh Kelly.
Yeah, this could be they're going to lean on their stars and then get out of there.
Get out of there healthy and
yeah.
Get up and sacrifice Justin Jackson and Josh Kelly to the Wolves.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we're both on Beasley for this one.
Not as much questions as we normally have gotten, but man, the good conversation with them. Thank you guys for the questions.
Yeah, a lot of good conversations around some of these guys.
We got to get the team unders and stuff. So I don't see any updates.
Okay.
Have come through.
Yeah,
so
I'm good with wrapping it unless we get another series of questions. We were going to wrap this up 30 minutes ago and then got some really good discussion. So thank you guys for that.
Thank you, Dalton Schultz and Zach Ertz. and then psychoanalyzing Brandon Cooks.
Oh, yeah. We had a little dynasty discussion on Brandon Cooks there in the middle. You never know what you're going to get. I didn't even get into hurricanes versus tornadoes. I guess I'll have to save that for Wednesday.
Ooh. Keep the people on their toes for
Keep the people on their toes.
Get them coming back.
Be a good bullshit session before another extended preview because I think we should keep doing the extended previews through the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm fine with that for sure. I don't want to play.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Good luck to everyone.
Good luck, guys.
Catch you on. No, I won't see you Wednesday. Hold on. We got to talk about that once we get off air.
We'll talk about when we'll see you next.
Talk about when we'll see you next. See ya.